I think you need to come up with another method of generating the thumbnails for these. I don't imagine my face is all that enticing. I need to cheer myself up here. I had a crappy afternoon. And interactions with somebody who's frequently a rain cloud on some of the things I'm doing. Tried to dispel it by winding myself up to go do things, and attended some of my online classes today. And I think I've got some ideas on how I can improve some of the stuff I'm working on. I'm a little frustrated with how I keep seeming to fall a little bit behind every day. And it's not because it's a workload that's unreasonable. It's just that I seem to, like, it's only around like 5 to 8 p.m. where I start to get my stride, usually. And then I start working on some things, and I'm exhausted by the time it's really when I'm starting to get into getting productive stuff achievable for the days coming forward. And that's down to my dealing with my health issues lately. I shouldn't be tired as I am as early as I am, but the other end of this is also that, like, I feel like some days there's always going to be something that's going to get in my way. And I have to learn how to say, no, I'm going to work on what's important for me. So I was working on the rewriting of the Star Wars script earlier this afternoon. It was funny because I must have gotten really enthusiastic about it last night, because I didn't quite dream about it. But in that moment between, like, getting out of bed and asleep, like, I've woken up, but I'm still in that sort of like floaty headspace kind of thing. I know where I am, I know what to do for the day, but it's a really easy space for me to daydream in. And my brain just snatched onto some little tidbits of what I had been talking about last night. Like, I remember this script that I wrote before, and like, if I do this to it and this to it, we can make it a little more interesting here. This tidies up this section, and I started to, oh yeah, I totally need to do it that way. And so, like, I had pulled out my new laptop and just started scripting out stuff last night. And it took me a while to find my old scripts and some of the saved SD cards, the little cards that I've got sitting around. I got like 12 of the things filled with photographs, recorded video interviews, text files, and all sorts of stuff. And it's just like hunting through some of those, trying to pull out the ones that are pertinent to what I'm working on right now. And then the joke of it is, I'm not even really working on the Star Wars one right now. As much as my brain wants that to be the one that I'm excited about and working on right now, that's not the one I'm supposed to be working on right now. So I'm kind of like, I kind of want to beat myself up about it, but I also want to say, like, I was having fun. And that's the point here. Being creative, having fun things to work on and create, and enthusiastically embracing the lifestyle of doing those things. Now, that's a beautiful sentiment, but it doesn't exactly lead to any degree of real productivity. So I got to find the balance of it. And again, some financial issues came up today, and that can sour my mood a little bit sometimes. So it's kind of disrupted me. And the other thing I got to deal with, I'm thinking I'm going to have to go do some of this stuff. I may just have to, and it may help my productivity, to get up, go down to the makerspace. For all that it takes about 30 to 40 minutes to get down there. I'm paying for a membership there. I might as well go do stuff. Going there to work on my stuff now that the laptop's working, I think I may be more productive there. And at the very least, I'm not going to have every 15 minutes this phone for the people who live in the other unit ringing with stupid reading off the names and the addresses and the phone numbers of people that I don't know and who don't know the people who live here, calling every day, every 15 minutes. Like, it's hard for me to even record an edited video because it's not like in a single 15-minute video, I'm going to get 2 calls coming into that thing, stopping me, having to restart where I had to stop. Drives me nuts. And it's like, it's not just, it's like the caller ID reads out who it is. And half the time it's anonymous or call from someplace in Maine. And it's literally just says like the number and Maine. And I was like, it's like a full 3-minute cycle of what it's reading off. And then it picks up the answering machine message, which runs for another 30 seconds, and then it drops it over, and half the time they just hang up. You get a dial tone for 30 seconds. And the other half of the time, it's some stupid robocall, and the robocall just doesn't get the fact that nobody cares about what it's calling. And so it will read this 4-minute message, and I'm like, you're just chewing up all the time that I'm trying to do it, and it's like all day long. So I think I'll have better success down at the makerspace, but that just means I have to get out of my PJs, get my butt going, and every day go down to the makerspace to work on stuff. And there will be people in and out of the makerspace too. So that'll be, they had them all the time here. I've actually told them on a few occasions, I'm very serious. Like, I've tried to mute this thing. I've tried to turn the volume down. I've tried to turn the mute on, turn off the caller ID. I tried it all. And this stupid thing is so broken that it turns it right back on every day. And it's like, why are you doing this? Like, when the phone rings, you don't pick it up. Like, you never pick up a ringing phone. You let it go to message, and then you call back. Why even bother announce it? Just come check your answering machine at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. Anyway, but they have it all the time, and I've told them I've frequently wanted, like, I've begun to recognize like 6 or 7 numbers that call every day, and they don't know who they are. They never leave a message, and they're calling all day long when the people who live in the other unit aren't here. So you clearly don't know these people, because if you did, you'd know they're at work. It's just like, why is this something I have to, like, I feel like I want to start picking it up during those calls and say, look, they have not answered you in 6 months. They're not going to answer you. You're not leaving messages, so it's not important enough to call every day. Stop calling. Remove them from whatever list you have them on. It's just like, why? Why would this? I mean, it's weird because, like, from a certain point of view, I can't imagine cold calling or contacting anybody about my YouTube channels every day and never getting a response. Like, after a week or once a month contacting people and not getting a response for 3 months maybe, I would stop calling them it's a pretty clear indicator that A, they're not there, or B, they don't care. So stop doing it. But I also get it's similar to like spam emails. There's not spamming just you. They're spamming 400,000 people every minute. And their goal there is not to see if you care, but if one person every minute follows through on following that up, their return at the end of the day is just monumental. And so it reasonably makes sense for them to keep behaving that way. If you get one response every hour of every day that you do this, and one response turns into $2 to $45 of some sale that you get through to them. Even $2 every minute, every hour, every day, for a year is way more income than you can get from working a minimum wage job. So of course it makes sense. It's economically viable to do that. I get that, but by the same token, it's like the sheer amount of energy and effort that goes into doing those things. Like, sure, they're all automated. Like, it doesn't bother them. It costs them maybe 1/100th of a cent per robocall. And if they're making $2 to $45 per call that succeeds, they can pay that off in no time. And it's just like, I mean, yeah. So that happens here, and it's interfering with my ability to do things that I want to do. And it frustrates me enough that it wrecks my mood to do the things that I want to do. Like, I was like all game for doing my edited videos today. And the sheer number of times that phone rang in 3 hours. I was pissed off at the end of the afternoon. And I sat there and I'm like, it's going to keep doing this and I'm not going to be able to record anything. So I guess I'm waiting till tomorrow to do it, or waiting till after 9 p.m. to do it. I don't know. Oh, what's the plan? I can't schedule around it. So I think I'm just going to have to work in a different location. I can't keep working here. So it's sort of a stupid thing to have to do, but I will do it if I have to. I'm going to have to work on some alternate lighting for when I'm doing it too, because the stuff at the makerspace is flickery. So I may have to go out and grab a $6 can light or something at Home Depot. Set it up. I think somewhere I've got some daylight quality spotlight bulbs. So I could probably pull that off. And my audio, I can use my little audio system here. It increases the workload in editing, but whatever. I'll do what I have to do. Yeah, the financial stuff is just going to be something I have to work on and find some additional streams of revenue to resolve some stuff. But I'm hoping to be able to get squared away and really start working on some things. The Tumblr posts are a casualty of stress and obnoxiousness right now. But I do want to see if I can pull together some scripts for skit videos that I will do. I will probably be posting my skit videos Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. No, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we're running into Tuesday already. So I've got to figure that out pronto. So figure out what they're going to be, run some quick scripts, set up somewhere not here, and shoot them. And then I'll also try to shoot the reviews for this week And I'm considering doing some work on my social media stuff. Like one of the classes that I took was social media marketing and management strategies, and it covers a lot of stuff that I already know, but it reconnected me with some information about some tools and devices that I vaguely recall, but it lets me track them down. And being who I am, I immediately go, okay, so what free alternatives to this are there? And so there are some social media management software pieces that are free to use. They're free plans. And they're sort of like ways of reaching a wider audience and getting in front of more eyes, because just posting on YouTube only gets you so far, because it's sort of like whispering in a room full of screaming people. It's easy to get lost. But like doing a Twitter post for like when I do my Makerspace tours, doing a Twitter post for each video that I post up, and just do a simple statement of like, this was one of the people I talked with at this location. She had a lot of good things to say about this, or something positive or interesting about that particular interview. And there's some software that lets me set up a Twitter account, and then each day that a video of a Maker Tour goes up, I can schedule it to go up. So at the start of the week, I can edit out a week's worth of videos in an afternoon, post them on a scheduled upload time for YouTube, and then use the address that they're going to go up as to post a link to Twitter automatically. I can set that up at the start of the week so that I don't have to ever go back to Twitter during the course of the week, and it'll auto-update. I can do something like that for Facebook, and with those underway, I can also do some of my projects as like before and after images, post it to Pinterest, and I can do some things on Instagram, and a few other social media platforms. There are a couple of these automated updaters. They're not really automated. I still have to script every post, but there are a couple of them that actually do stuff for Tumblr too. And if I could set up enough stuff ahead of time to do automated updates on those things, that would be super useful. And that would mean that in going to one dashboard, essentially, I can say, like, here's the image I want to use, or the video clip, or the link to the thing that I want to link to. Here is the writing that I want to put on this, and here is the hashtags and @ contacts that I want to put into this post, and you just sort of build, and I can build some templates on that, tags and hashtags and all that stuff, and sort of have a sort of a plug-and-play Lego build-up that lets me quickly, in 5 to 15 minutes, set up posts for at least the day, if not the entire week, on all social media platforms that I'll use, and link them in ways that are useful to helping grow the channel. So like when I was talking about doing like a daily different type of content, so like a song day, news day, whatever I want to call them, I can set up a series of those types of posts. So like for Opportunity Forge, the secondary channel that I'm looking at starting up, where each day of the week is a different themed item. Like Sunday would be Sunday brunch, and for me that would be like doing a quick, like, here's a brunch menu that I'm playing with this week, and give recipes for the items, and then sort of like a, here's the finished product, and as I'm dining on them, I could do answering questions of certain topics or whatever, or interviewing somebody who I share brunch with, or something like that. And so what I can do with that is do a post on, say, Instagram, showing what we're going to have for brunch that day as it's prepared, and like the finished food items, like the menu essentially, and some Q&A text about questions that we may answer during that, or the stories that I'll tell at that point, or something like that. And like for each day being able to do that, like that's something that's more scheduled ahead of time. This live stuff will have to pretty much remain, like, I'm doing this today because this is relevant today. So it's hard to schedule that ahead of time, but I can do things like surveys, like what kinds of things do you want to talk about tonight, and do that on a social media platform, and have that set up early enough in the week that it's going to auto post at the appropriate time frame, and I'll get the results in a sufficient amount of time to use them during this live stream. So that's another thing I can do with it. And so like the sites I'm looking at are, there's one called Later, one called Hootsuite, one called Social Oomph, and one called Friends and Me. Friends plus Me. And each one of them has a slightly different set of sites that you can post on, and slightly different regulations. And you can buy like more premium memberships. Like I'm looking at Later right now. They have the $0 free one, and that gives you one profile with 30 posts, I believe, per month. Yes, per month. One profile. So on Instagram, it's one profile, 30 posts per month. And one profile, 50 posts on Twitter, one profile, 30 posts on Facebook, and one profile, 30 posts on Pinterest. So that can get you some good stuff there. Let's see, number of users, 1, social platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest. It says here 1 per platform. I'm a little vague on what that is. It says I can schedule posts. I can't schedule videos. I can't schedule Instagram stories, which I'm fine with. I can't do multi-photo posts with the free one. I can't use tag locations and users. And it won't give me hashtag suggestions. It doesn't give me analytics for much of it. It doesn't give me conversations, contributions, best time to post. That's all fine. I'm not worried about that. So like that one has those features where I'm a little curious about the 1 per platform. That's social profiles, 1 per platform. Okay. So that's 1 profile on Twitter that I can manage with that one. There are some of them that, and like the higher ends on that one, like the brand account is $49 a month, which is not super expensive, honestly. That's a pretty good deal. And they let you use 5 social profiles per platform. So I guess on like Twitter, you can have 5 Twitter accounts linked to this. And yeah, that's pretty insane. Like that's for like a BuzzFeed company, I would imagine. I don't imagine I would ever reach a level where I need to worry about that, especially considering with Later, I can use Later for, say, my Roving Jack account. I can use Hootsuite, which also has a free account that I can use. It's 3 social profiles, 2 RSS feeds, and it uses Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest, which I think is all that I really end up using right now on there. But if I don't use Hootsuite for that, maybe I'll use Social Oomph. And it looks like that one has Tumblr, Shopify, WordPress, Discord, Facebook, LinkedIn, Mastodon profiles. I don't know what that is. Pinterest, Reddit subreddits, stock tweets, a Twitter. It does an RSS feed. So it looks like it has a little more reach than Hootsuite, but I also have Friends Plus Me, which has 2 queues, which I'm not familiar with. Scheduled posts per queue is 5, so it sounds like I could do upwards of 10 posts free, and I think that's per day. Not sure. I have to look into that. And then they cover Pinterest, Tumblr, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Google Plus, which I don't think is existing anymore, is it? And so I'd look at that and like maybe between Friends Plus Me and Hootsuite, I use 2 instead of 1 to manage different halves of my account. So I'm looking at those, and I'm gonna have to up my like thumbnail or still image game a little bit, but I think that shouldn't be too hard. I was looking at there's a service called Canva, and there's another one like that too that I used a while back. Let's see, what do we got? Where is that information? I can't even remember. Okay, so Canva was one that I've used. Canvas? No, that's not what I was asking for. No, but you know, why would you autocomplete that way like that? I didn't ask you to do that. Canva, there you go. Canva is, and I think there's like PicMonkey and one other. I can't even remember. Features, sign up for Canva. What are they offering? What's the cost on that? Okay, you're not going to work with me. I see how that goes. What are you doing? Features for work. Log in. To show me what I asked you to show. Okay, that's the least intuitive interactive system that I've ever seen. you should have a learn more feature. I don't know what you're doing, but you're not doing anything that makes any kind of sense. Do as you're informed. No, all right. Well, that's not useful. Photos, icons. How about information, features? Soundtrack. Let's just do that. Tell me anything you can give me. Like that, as a user interface, that is one of the least efficient ways I've ever seen them doing that. That's fortunate. As a graphic design program, I'm astounded at how illogical that is. You should be able to tell somebody what they want to know about what it's going to cost them to use your service. Terms, privacy, pricing. See, it shouldn't be that hard to get that information. Really, it really shouldn't. Okay, so there is a free 2 folders to organize designs, 1 GB storage for photos and assets, access to over 8,000 templates, upload your own images, access millions of photos starting at $1 each. So that's a free forever Canva usage. And 2 folders to organize, 1 GB storage for photos and assets. No? Okay, I can't chase that any further. Yeah, not the best input there. But yeah, so like, I guess even just playing around with the free version, I'll see what I can do with that. And that makes it possible to go further with what I'm doing. I'm going to see if I can put the information for the webcam onto the laptop and take it with me down to the makerspace. Because when I can do that, I'll be able to do the live updates here better. Well, I'll think about that. I do think I need to go in and see if I can readjust the settings, because again, it washes me out pretty good. That's pretty dark. That's weird. It's very, very sensitive to light. It's a very dim bulb. It's facing the other way, and the walls around here are not light material. But for some reason, it's washed out now, but too dark if I turn one light off and there are 2 others running. But yeah, I want to see if I can adjust some of that. I may end up resorting a lot more to my cameras. They're 720p, but that's okay. I will use this for most of my life still. I was wondering if I could use this for recorded and editing, but I need to tweak some of the visuals on it a little, I think. And I will give it a try. I will try to do one of my skits using this one. And I will use my camera for filming one of the other skits. And they have a camera at the makerspace, and I will see if I can make a skit using that. I think that one can do higher quality. I don't know if it does 4K. I don't know that I want to do 4K. Nobody needs to see my pores. If I'm doing a skit, you don't need to see my pores. But so the skits are probably going to be 5 minutes or under. And I gotta figure out how I'm gonna, like, what kind of set I'm gonna build for them. I went to the makerspace last night after game night, and they've gotten some new equipment there for a giant laser cutter and a plasma cutter. And the laser cutter went into the room that used to be a closed off space for arts and crafts, and you could do some video recording in there and not be interrupted. And so the giant laser is taking up about a fifth of that room. And those aren't quiet when they're running, but even if they're not running, they take up so much of the space that it may not be useful. And what used to be in that room got crammed down into one of the classrooms, which was one of the other places you could record. So there's a lot less space now to do any recording. But there is still that kitchenette, and I think I should be able to move everything out of that kitchenette to be able to use that as a recording booth. Because it's soundproofed, and it's got no exterior lighting, so you can set up controlled lighting, and it's got one entrance. It's like a big door that you can put soundproof paneling on, and you could easily make it a soundproof booth with controlled lighting set up. Put a bar across the back of the top of it, and use that for backdrops and green screens, and you'd be good to go for recording. And it's right there in the front room. It's right off the front room. But it's got a refrigerator and a microwave in it right now. And I feel like the refrigerator compressor makes enough noise that it's not helpful. But on top of that, like, it's the place where people go when they want to eat their lunch out of the fridge. And so you'll get people walking in regularly when you're filming there. I think I'm going to pitch that we make that adjustment, fix it up a bit so that we can do that. But we are running out of space at the Makerspace. But I will try to do some recording there. I will probably do my simple green screen knockoff with the bright green poster board. And then I will try to do some green screening of set theme for one of the videos. I think the other one can just be done as a happening in a random room kind of thing. And the last one, I could do outdoors, like a green screen, regular room, and an outdoors bit. So I guess that's sort of the theme what I'm going to go with right now. So this camera, my point and shoot that records 720p, and then the camera at the Makerspace, and outdoors regular room and green screen. So that's what I'm going to focus on right now. I'm going to figure out which of my weird ideas for skits I'm going to do. Yeah, well, that's the thing. The software I downloaded for this had that and a few other features that let me do things. But in an update to Windows, every time I try to open those settings now, it crashes it. I don't know, like, I'm always just chronically fed up because you can't opt out of the Windows updates anymore. One of their updates made it so that you can't opt out anymore. So they're chronically doing stuff that makes it harder for the software that I'm using to work. I don't know why they've decided that's the way they want to do stuff. And they started installing stuff that I don't want them installing. Some update installed Microsoft Works or MS Office or whatever it is these days. I don't want it. I have a writing program that I use just fine. Thank you very much. But now it not only installed that software, but made it the defaults. And I don't know where they set the default to all go to that. I have to go track that down and remove it. It's just sort of like, why would you do that? And it automatically converted all my text files to work for that program instead. So now I have to convert them all back. And it's just like, I'm angry at Windows for their updates lately. And one of them wrecked how that works with this computer. And I don't know why. I recently had another update, so it's possible they fixed whatever they broke the last time. And I need to go back through and see if I can get it to work again. But it's just like building a system that does that to, what is that? Logitech, okay. I'm trying to see it. I don't have enough light to see what it says on the front of it here, but I have to lean in close enough to not get white balance, but far enough away that I don't disappear into the darkness. Okay. So Logitech, you can do this. It's your job. Come on. Well, it's not going to work for me tonight. I can't get it to pull anything up, but I will get this to work on the laptop the new laptop that I just got. I'll play with it on that, and I will see what I can do with a few other things, like the camera at the Makerspace and my camera to record the videos. This should work fine. I can download the drivers for it just fine. I don't know why it decided it needed to break that. I mean, I'd almost be certain that I don't know why you won't search right now. This is stupid. You're really okay. I'm gonna give up on that for right now until I'm done with this video. But there should be a way that I can do this. I don't know why it wants to fight every step of the way, tooth and nail. It's this computer and it's Windows that's doing it. It's not the camera and it's not the drivers for the camera that I downloaded. Those work fine. It's something about what they did to the operating system on this computer, and this computer screaming, blowing the fan out like crazy, trying to do what I'm trying to do right now. But yeah, so I'm relatively confident with the methods and the style of what I'm going to do for my 3 skit videos. I'm going to see if I can script up my scripts tonight, and then get tomorrow with recording. And tomorrow's Tuesday, so Wednesday is like my last day to do any shooting or editing for them. So that's sort of the goal there. And I think I'm gonna it should be a little bit better. I'm not sure about that though. I mean, it depends on the computer too. I mean, this computer has some RAM, and this has less RAM than the new laptop. Same processor though, and so I think that should help the new laptop work a little bit better. And not streaming will make a difference. The having to run the signal through the internet, through whatever bottleneck of internet, and I do want to check that out too. It's another reason for me to do more work out of the Makerspace, is like to see if I can get OBS working for live streaming at the Makerspace, where the signal should be less bottlenecked. Yeah, and I mean, my computer is likely to be a little slower than that, but I've been, relatively pleasantly surprised with how well it's doing with the live videos like this. And I've watched some of my videos back, And I think the only thing I would say, like, the audio could be better. I could try to hook up a mic and do an external mic that get a better audio than the built-in mics for the webcam. I do know this webcam's mic is worse than the webcam mic for the computer. This one sounds tinny, and this one sounds better, but more, it's lost some of the spectrum of sound, but in doing so, it also trimmed off the part that sounded tinny. But I think I've mentioned I have a lav mic somewhere that I've tried to use with my portable recorder, audio recorder. Still haven't mastered that yet, but it is just a regular microphone jack. I should be able to plug it in the side here and use it to get better audio. Yeah, there's, I mean, it's just sort of like there's a little buzz, like a tone in the, like it's cutting off the tops of sounds or clipping sound, and I don't know if there's a way to adjust the microphone independently on this webcam. I mean, I'll look into it with the drivers when I get them installed on the new laptop and see if I can make that work better. I mean, the camera works fine. I'm happy with that. If I can get another audio source for live, so like a microphone to plug in, I'll do that. And then for edited, I'll just use my little voice recorder, maybe even hook up the lav mic for that one, and then use that and put it in editing. It shouldn't be that big a deal to do that. I think the biggest difference I'm going to have to make is I'm going to have to be a little more like Hollywood movies, where we get started and then we go and we match up the audio spike on the scratch track. So whatever this mic does would be a scratch track in an edited video. And see where that spike, the auditory spike, happens, and take the file I get off my audio recorder and line it up so the spike happens and make them mesh as closely as possible. The biggest problem I've had with that is audio recorded files and scratch tracks from camera, they don't always equal out over longer periods of time. A few of the times where I've done maker tours and I've had a 20-minute interview with somebody, I can sync up the first part so it's perfect. Like playing both tracks at the same time, there's not even a little hint of an echo. But about 10 to 12 minutes in, you start to get an echo. And then about 15 to 17 minutes in, there's a very pronounced lag. Like the lips will move and the voice will come afterwards. And by the end of like 20 some odd minutes, it's completely out of sync. And that's when the whole files are whole. Like if you can cut them into 5-minute increments, and that's sort of what like I would want to do in a skit video, an edited video anyway. But I'm enough of a, like, I want to get this done quickly. I like to sit down in front of a camera and I follow my script for my edit ones, and I just plow through for about 15 minutes and I trim up the ends of each section I do. Like when I do a countdown for the 6 items that are inspired by this work, I usually do a idea number 1. And instead of doing number 1, I like to cut it, and I would like to put flashcards in between for like a second. Yeah, a Yeti mic would be better. I have a mixer that could get me 2 channels of mics, and I have a mic that mixes into the mixer, and the mixer can mix in through a USB port. So I can get multi-channel, like if I wanted to do an interview, I could set up a mic in front of somebody else, and I could have a mic in front of me. And there's a third channel that I can put in like theme music and just switch between channels. So I can do a lot of things with it. I haven't got it to work on the last computer I tried it on, and now it's sitting in storage. So this is sort of a story of my life right now. But the last computer I tried to use it on, I cranked the volumes all the way up, and you could barely hear anything. I'm like, tell me it's broken. And I think it was just not working well with the system at the time. This is a system that it might work better with. And if that's the case, I will see what I can do with that here. It might work with a new laptop too, so I'd have to give that a try. And so, like, there are things I can do to explore it. I just, between the projects I'm working on and everything, it's getting it right, getting the timing, and I am a bit of a procrastinator sometimes, so I let things slide, and then I go, oh, right, I don't have enough time to do all those things, so certain things fall by the wayside. I'm trying to get better at that. But yeah, so I will put together a few scripts tonight, see about starting recording tomorrow, and editing for the end of the week. If it comes to it, I may end up posting all 3 on Saturday. But I would like to think that I can probably post 1 per day for the last 3 days of this week. And then next week is a board game development. And it's funny because that one actually starts the same day as I host a prototype and playtest board game night at the Makerspace. So my first day of designing a new game will happen on the evening after, or the evening of the playtest and prototype board game night. And I'm hoping to have some new attendees to that on Sunday. I think that's it for tonight. Hopefully I have less of a cranky day tomorrow. I don't know why I was like, I think I'm still kind of not, like, my digestive system's still angry at me, but I'm not sick. It's just sensitive, and I'm still a little hungry all the time. And I think that's part of where my frustration and crankiness is coming from. But I'm trying to be careful with my system so I don't over push it. And when I'm careful with my system, it's frustrated that it's not getting all sorts of neat things anymore. But I know better than to push it. Because I just spent a week recuperating from pushing too hard. And I can't afford another lost week like that. So I will be back in here tomorrow night. So take care of yourself, and I will see you tomorrow. That'll be fun. Well, actually, it should be kind of fun because they're going to be fun little skits. But thank you.